In the last lesson, we discussed the StarDelta start control case based on FC for S7-1200. In this lesson, we will demonstrate the specific programming operations for this case. We will begin with writing a program for the StarDelta start control of a three-phase asynchronous motor based on the function FC. First, create a new project named Three-Phase Asynchronous Motor StarDelta Start. Select CPU 1214C DC for the PLC and add a variable table named StarDelta Conversion Variable Table. Double-click the variable table to define input and output variable signals. In this case, there are three input signals. The Start button, with the address defined as I0.0, the Stop button, with the address as I0.1, and the Overload contact, with the address as I0.2. There are three output signals. The Power contactor, with the address as Q0.0, the Star contactor, with the address as Q0.1, and the Delta contactor, with the address as Q0.2. Next, add a function FC block. Double-click to add a new block. Select function FC, name it StarDelta Conversion, and choose LAD language before clicking Confirm. This generates a new function block FC1 in the program group. Since the function FC does not have a background data block to store related program data, and this case requires storing timing data, we need to add a DB data block to save the data. Click to add a new block, select the DB data block. Name it Timer. Choose the data type as IEC_timer. And click Confirm. This adds a Timer DB block to the system block. Double-click to open FC1 and declare the local variables for the function FC. In the input interface, declare Start, data type bool, Stop, and Overload. To transfer the timing data, define a variable named timing time and change its type to time. In the output interface, declare the Star contactor. In the input-output interface, declare the Power contactor and Delta contactor. Declare the timer, changing its type to IEC_timer. Thus, we have declared the relevant formal parameters for the function fc, listing all variables as formal parameters here. Next, we write the subprogram for fc. In program segment 1, write the control program for the star-delta start of the three-phase asynchronous motor. The logic of this control program was explained in the previous video. Here, we can directly input the program. When entering the timer, drag and drop the TON to the specified position, which will prompt a dialog box suggesting the creation of a DB block. Since we have established a global DB data, click Cancel here. Now, configure the formal parameters for each component. Start, stop, overload, power contactor, normally open contact of the power contactor, delta contactor, and star contactor. Select the timer and choose the defined timing time. This completes the input of the control program. Since all variables in FC are local variables, the system automatically adds a hashtag sign in front of the variable names. Double-click the main program to drag and drop function fc1 into program segment 1. Here, we can see that this is a program block, and each formal parameter currently displays as a red question mark. Next, configure the actual parameters for each formal parameter. Start corresponds to the start button I0.0. Stop corresponds to the stop button I0.1. Overload corresponds to I0.2. Set the time by inputting 10 seconds. Power contactor corresponds to Q0.0. Delta contactor corresponds to Q0.2. Select the timer. Star contactor corresponds to Q0.1. This completes the call to function fc, with actual parameters configured for each formal parameter. Click the Compile button. A message indicates an error, noting that star-delta conversion has not been compiled yet. Double-click on function fc, click Compile, and function fc compiles successfully without errors. Let's compile the main program. There are no errors. Now we can download this program to the PLC for running or to the simulator for testing. Alright, please practice on your own now. That concludes today's lesson. Please practice more after class. See you next time.